Yeah, motherfucker. I'm wondering if I can say something witty after that, but not. I just sort of did that, then immediately realised, yeah, video demonetised. Like all good professionals. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Levi Clay here, and I'm back again. Yes, I'm back again to do another live transcription. This one is going to be a lot of fun because I'm a big fan of the band that we are talking about. I am a huge fan of the band that we're talking about, and for those of you that aren't, well, this is an opportunity to get you into the zone, so you know a little bit more about these guys, what they were all about, who they were, and you know the sad tale of why they aren't anymore. Right, I'm just making sure this gets shared everywhere, which is all good. Upside Down's online. How's it going, my brother? Bruce is playing. Yeah, Bruce is fantastic. Bruce really was a great player. Well, still is a great player. But in Racer X, I think Bruce was an underrated master. He had some really, really cool stuff that he played. But of course, Paul was the star of Racer X. So we often forget how cool Bruce's stuff really was, how cool his ideas were. So yeah, big fan of Bruce Bouillet. And there we go. I said it. Bouillet. Bruce Bouillet. Not Bouillet or Bouillet. Bruce Bouillet. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bruce Bouillet. I've reached out to Bruce to hopefully have him on the channel. It'd be great to catch up and talk music with him. It'd be great to talk about Racer X, his days back at GIT, and I'm sure he's got some great stories to tell. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to... Jesse Gilbert couldn't possibly miss this one. It's your dad's on it. Steve and I will be going from the start. I'm going to literally do this over several streams and, walk you guys through the process, which should be fun, right? So if you are watching this and you think that this is of interest to other people out there in the land, in the world of music, please do share. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm going into my routine, right? But get this posted up on social media. I'll be on for a while. I'll be on for hopefully a couple of hours. It'll be lots of fun. And yeah, I would love it if some more people check this out, because this genuinely will be a really cool one. So, before I do all of that, I have to say, this transcription was actually suggested by Fred Anderson. So, Fred Anderson is one of my supporters over on Patreon, and he posted this up in my Patreon group. And I thought, you know what, that's a really cool video. He suggested everybody in the group transcribed it as a sort of collaborative effort. And I was all for that. But I thought, well, why not do a transcription challenge the way my Patreon page is supposed to work? I pick something that you all transcribe. Those guys go away and transcribe it. I transcribe it too, and then we compare notes, right? So immediately, you know, when loads of people were suddenly interested in transcribing it and saying, yeah, that could be fun, I was like, awesome, let's race. So thank you, Fred, for the suggestion. It's very cool. And if you would like to be like any of those people up there, or just part of my private Facebook group, you can join us for as little as $1. I was going to say there's a link in the description, but I suspect there's probably not, because I'm a professional. I'm prepared. Also, if you have enjoyed this stream and you want to support me and get something else out of it, you can grab one of my books on Amazon. Just have a look for Levi Clay. You will see lots of. I have a lot of work up there. Delta blues slide guitar soloing techniques, country guitar for beginners, 100 licks for country guitar soloing techniques, the country fingerstyle guitar method, and the country guitar method compilation. I know that sounds like a lot, right? But we also have this one, 100 slide licks for blues guitar, my latest book. So please do go and check one of those out. And most importantly, if you have checked them out, if you own one of my books, please do head on over to Amazon and leave it a nice little review. It's a big help. So thank you very much for your kindness, consideration, and understanding. It means a lot. So let me get involved in this comment section, see what's going down, see who's online. Who is online? I mean, it's the same old faces. Ciego Guitarist, hello, how's it going, my man? Wolverine is online. Hello. Paul Gilbert is difficult. Yeah. Bruce saying how hard he had to practice just to keep up with Paul. I absolutely believe that. There is no doubt in my mind that he had to really, keep on top of his game in order to stay up with Paul, because Paul obviously was super cutting edge at the time. So, for anyone that has made it through that horrible stream of plugging, plug. Levi Clay needs to make some money, right? With that all out of the way, let's talk about Racer X. Let's talk about what it is we're achieving here. Let's talk about the goal here. Who And what were Racer X? So Racer X was a band mainly featuring Paul Gilbert. It was an opportunity for Mike Varney to put Paul out there as his own thing. Now Mike did that a lot during that era. There were other bands like Mars, which featured Tony McAlpine, How To, featuring Greg Howe. But of course, the big success of all of those types of bands was no doubt Racer X. Okay. And the idea was very simple. Mike Varney had his Spotlight column, and he was featuring these young up-and-coming players, and of course he had Shrapnel Records, and he wanted to give those guys vehicles, help them have vehicles with which he could make loads of money off of them. Which is fair enough. The music business, I often say it, only half of the word music business is music. The other half is business. Without the business side of things, none of it exists. So Racer X was the vehicle created for Paul Gilbert in order to do his thing and have a record deal and to go out and record and not make a living, but hopefully have some success. So I'm double checking this because I was going to say 86, but Racer X were formed apparently in 1984. Feels a tiny little bit early for me, to be completely honest with you. But Street Lethal, the first album by Racer X, certainly came out in 1986. Now, Street Lethal is a killer record, and this is Racer X during their period of being a four-piece band. Okay, so Paul Gilbert on guitar, John Alderetti on bass, Jeff Martin on vocals, and Harry on drums. Harry would leave the band before the next album, and this is where they would add their second guitar player. So Bruce Bouillet did not feature on Racer X's debut album, Street Lethal. If you look at the artwork to Racer X's Street Lethal, you're going to see Racer X, and then underneath it says with Paul Gilbert. So, Paul Gilbert was very, very much the spotlight in the band. He was what was there to push the band. Now, Street Lethal is a great album. Really, really cool album. It has some really, really cool tunes on it. I would recommend checking out the track Street Lethal. It's got an outrageously cool solo on it. The riff on it in the intro is an absolute motherfucker to play. YRO, or Engve Ripoff, was a kind of classic Paul Gilbert instrumental piece. But to be honest, I think songs like Dangerous Love, absolute banger of a tune. On the Loose, banging tune. I would probably have to say Dangerous Love is my favourite tune on that album. So, as I say, that was Racer X's first album. Let me check up with these comments, see what's going down. Tabor Smith, or Tabor Smith. Thank you very much for tuning in, man. Welcome to your first stream. Looking forward to this one. Awesome, yeah. Wolverine went to Doc and George Lynch Guitar Clinic in 1995, and he spent most of his time talking about how great Racer X is. Couldn't believe fellow guitar players hadn't heard about them back then. Yeah. So, let me continue. So, Street Lethal came out, as I say, in 1986, and it is a great album, but things really kick off in 1987, at least for me. 1987 is when the band released Second Heat. Now, Second Heat was the first album of the band to feature Bruce Bouillet on guitar, as well as Paul Gilbert on second guitar. John Alderetti still on bass, though here he's credited as Juan Alderetti. It's worth pointing out that it's John is currently in a coma. He had a serious bicycle accident, and obviously wishing him well, and I hope he pulls through, because he was a big influence on me growing up. Second Heat, still featuring Jeff Martin on vocals, Paul Gilbert on guitar, Bruce Bouillet on guitar, and Scott Travis on drums. Scott Travis. So you may know Scott Travis now, obviously, as Judas Priest's drummer. He's been drumming with Judas Priest for, well, longer than I can remember. There's clearly a connection between the groups. There's actually a Judas Priest cover on this album. So there's definitely a held respect there. Now, this is a killer album. If you haven't heard this album, I cannot recommend this enough. If you listen to the first track on this album, which is called Sacrifice, never have you heard a guitar album start out with something so ballsy, something so in your face. The harmony guitars, this crazy string skipped harmony arpeggios and sweep picking, and very, very cool. And generally speaking, in Racer X, when you hear sweep picking, you know that that's going to be Bruce Bouillet, because Paul, very vocal about not being a sweep picker, very vocal about being more of a a string skipper for his arpeggios. So I think it's safe to say most of the sweep picking you hear, not a whole lot of it, but when you do hear it, that's usually going to be Bruce Bouillet playing that. So yeah, it's Justin just showing off Street Lethal. That solo is so much fun to play. Not many people can play that solo. Is a killer solo though. I really do enjoy that solo. Let's keep going. Let's see what we've got. Right. So yeah, that's all you have from Racer X in terms of studio albums until much later on. Many, many years later. Let me give the exact year that Technical Difficulties came out in. So Technical Difficulties is their next studio album. That came out in 1999. So there were 12 years between albums. And of course, that was because Paul Gilbert went off and did Mr. Big. Now, I do love Mr. Big as a band. I'm not gonna complain about Mr. Big as a band. Huge, huge fan of Mr. Big as well. But that resulted in, no Racer X for a very long time, which is fair enough. Anyway, it's worth pointing out that there are 2 live albums that came from this period. In 1988 and 1992, respectively, Live Extreme Volume 1 and Live Extreme Volume 2 were released. Now, these are both really, really cool albums. I'm just checking that they were recorded in the same place. Yeah. So Extreme Volume Live was recorded at the Country Club in Reseda. And yeah, they were recorded at the same time. So cool. Now, these albums are really worth checking out. Genuinely, it's not often that you would say, bands' live albums are essential listening. But the reason these are really worth listening to is because Bruce Bouillet has a almost 3-minute guitar solo, like a solo track, which is very cool. It's the only recording of Skit Scat Wah, which is a Racer X instrumental that Bruce has obviously played live a lot, and he was a co-writer on this, etc. So yeah, that's very, very cool. And not so much on the first one, but on the second live album, there are a couple of cool tracks. The main one being Poison Eyes. So Poison Eyes is an absolutely awesome song and would go on to be recorded by Racer X on one of their later albums, Technical Difficulties. So, coming to Technical Difficulties, as I say, 1999. Now, at this point, Bruce isn't in the band anymore. So, really, Bruce only had one studio album with the band. That's the word I'm looking for. So, no Bruce on this, unfortunately. But he does have writing credit on Miss Mistreater. And he should have... Is that all? Yeah, he's got writing credit on Poison Eyes as well. And Give It To Me. So, he's definitely got, some writing credit on this album. But it wasn't his main thing with the band. It's just credit rather than participation, if you like. Miss Mistreater, worth pointing out, for years and years on the Racer X forums, I was Miss Mistreater. That was my name. So named after a Bruce Bouillet song. They released Superheroes in 2000. Well, it came out in 2001 in America, but 2000 in Japan. Again, killer album, some great songs, great solos, etc. All the stuff you'd expect. Again, no Bruce Bouillet. There's the Snowball of Doom live album in 2001, Getting Heavier, another studio album in 2002. In fact, the last studio album that Racer X released. So it's been 18 years since we got a very, very, very long hiatus. I don't think we'll ever see them again, which is a shame. But yeah, there's also Snowball of Doom 2, which is another live album, and some of this stuff's worth checking out. But as I say, for me, really it's all about Second Heat, because Second Heat is the studio album featuring both Paul Gilbert and Bruce Bouillet on guitars. Right, that was a lot of talking. For those of you unfamiliar with Racer X, you hopefully have had your introduction. Now, I was, like I say, a huge fan of Racer X growing up. I loved the attitude, the balls of just these level of harmony guitar parts on record. It's just so unbelievably cool, and they were so young, so young. Let me check the ages. And Paul was born, I know, November 6th, because he's 2 days after me. Yeah, Paul's birthday is November 6th, 1966. So with the first Racer X album coming out, Second Heat is 86. So he's 19 or 20 during that period. So super, super young, and yeah, great playing. Absolutely great playing. Yeah. All right, let me read these comments and then we'll talk about the actual thing that we're going to do. What have you got here? Love the Serious Scarify. Paul just tells stories while holding a guitar. Talks about almost getting to play for Ozzy when he was like 15. Paul would have elevated Ozzy. Jake Lee was great, but he could have been. Well, I think Jake did a really good job with Ozzy. I really do think he did a great job with Ozzy. I really like Bark at the Moon, that album. The Ultimate Sin, maybe not so much, but there are some really good moments on the Ultimate Sin. Hello, folks. Bumblebess, good to see you. I'm going to keep scrolling through these comments and try and go as fast as I possibly can. Oh yeah, of course, the Racer X, the Whiskey A Go Go. That's the there's a DVD of that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, you got a great comment here from Chronos. Let's go with Chronosec W. Chronosec W. Getting heavier didn't actually get heavier. No, it did not. I remember ordering that album and waiting for it to show up, and it turned out going, "Oh, Racer X are getting back together." Well, sorry, Racer X are back together, and they're heavier. They're playing heavier stuff. And no, honestly, I can't think of any of the songs on that album. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Dr. X, Lucifer's Hammer, Golden God. All I can think of when I see Golden God is Sean shouting Paul Gilbert as a Golden God. Bucket of Rocks, no. Go GG Go. Heaven in 74. Everything's Everything. Empty Man, Siren's Eye, Ghost Aunt, Endless Cat. No, not a single one of those songs jumps out to me. Not a single one. Here's an interesting factoid for you, though. Thinking of Racer X songs. So on the album Superheroes, there is a song entitled... which song is it? Mad at the World. Mad at the World? Yeah, Mad at the World. Mr. Big recorded that song, but not as Mad at the music was identical, but it had different vocals on it, and the song was called My Kind of Woman. I found that very interesting when I first heard that Superheroes album, to hear that there was literally just a Mr. Big song on there, but with a different vocal. Very, very odd choice. So, yeah, what's going on? The worst and best piece of signature gear that I own. It's both the same answer to both of those, Angus. It's my BC Rich Mick Thompson signature. Levi, how old were you when you were listening to Racer X? Was it after Mr. Big? No, it was before Mr. Big. I discovered Racer X maybe when I was 15, on the recommendation of Mick Thompson, believe it or not. So, yeah. Right, no. Yeah, Mad at the World. Mad at the World and My Kind of Woman were the same, musically the same song, which is super weird to hear. Super weird to hear. I can't think of any other examples in music of that really happening. UK Guitar Noodle, how's it going, man? Right, so with all of that out of the way, with all of that good stuff out of the way, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna do it, don't you guys? You know I'm gonna do it. Thank you, supporters on Patreon. Very much appreciated. You bring these people these videos. So if you would like to check me out on Patreon, Upside Down will post a link in the comments. And please do head on over to Amazon and check out one of my books. I have lots of books, and they feed my family. So that's all very much appreciated. Anyway, here we go. Right, so... Oh, fucking hell, my ear. Oh, I've got a blockage in my ear. And every time I hiccup, it feels like my eardrum's about to burst. Right, so let's do this. I'm going to start a new track. What was I going to say? I was going to say something before I did all of that. No, that pain just made all of that disappear. Russell Ward says, how old are you? You thought that I were younger than you. I'll tell you what, Russell, I'll ask that back to you. How old are you? And then when you answer, I'll answer back. Right, so I have this loaded up in Transcribing. And, that was the question I was going to ask. Guys, can you hear the the high-pitched squeal? He's in standard tuning. Awesome. Okay, Russell's 47. Russell, I'm 32. No, I'm 31. I'm 31. Take that back. I'm 31. Am I 31? Yeah, I'm 31. I'm 31. I keep saying I'm 32 just recently. I'm 31. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I was listening to Racer X when they first came out. But yeah. Good. I've got a company. They are hooking me up with new cables for my entire studio. Hopefully with high quality cables. That will be, hopefully that improves. Hopefully. I don't, it's a desperation thing. I just don't know how to solve that problem. Some people have suggested maybe it's electrical, maybe it's an electrical issue. But I'm running everything off of a power conditioner. So the buzzing is probably my amplifier. I can turn that off. The first Racer X song I heard was Fire of Rock, which is convenient because that's the thing that this starts with. So yeah, this medley is a 10.5 minute, about 10.5 minute medley. I'm being really careful with these hiccups to not do this eardrum. 10.5 minutes, some really, really cool stuff on here. And it starts out with the song Fire of Rock. This song is actually heard on... This is super interesting that this is included because this song is on Technical Difficulties. It's the first track? Second track? Yeah, second track on Technical Difficulties. And Paul is credited as the writer. So the fact that Bruce is playing it, I don't know. Did they used to play this back in the day, live, with Racer X? I can't see a reason that he'd play that unless he had some sort of affiliation with it. Yeah. Let's have a look. That's what I meant. This bit came out. You started listening to Racer X because I was 15 when I first had Racer X. Yeah. Right, so let's just listen to this first bit. This is Fire of Rock. Nice and easy, right? We can transcribe that. Now I'm going to put this 1, 2, 3. Let's do it like this. So I'm going to put the bend on that note. I'm going to put the hold on that note, and we're going to put a volume swell on that. So I put a double bar line in here because this is where the band kicks in. He holds that for the first bar. He holds it for the second half of the second, for the first half of the second bar, and then gradually releases it, sort of landing around here. I fucking hate the accidentals in Guitar Pro. Absolutely fucking hate them. Because I know what's going to happen, right? You see this is listed as a D flat. It should really be a C sharp. So when I go to correct that, my options are to call it a B double sharp or a D flat. And if I press that again, it is acknowledging that it's a different enharmonic, but it won't change it to a C sharp. And it drives me insane. Drives me absolutely fucking insane. So now on this note, I'm going to put a hold, and we hold this note, and there's a vibrato on it, and it plays for... still holding that. Yeah, we'll go 3 more bars of that. 1, 2, 3, with vibrato, of course. Doesn't allow me... The vibrato's technically there, but it doesn't want to put it on unless I put that hold in. So I'll put that hold. Again, working around the stupid things of Guitar Pro. So we hold it into the first beat of this bar, and then we are going... we will do this. So I'll just put this slide up. There we go. That is the first part. So that was a great stream, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. I will see you for another stream soon. Goodbye. Very simple though, right? Very, very simple. Nice and easy, but accurate. We've been as accurate as we can with it. So let's take a look at the next section. We'll just listen up until the harmony. Fine, we'll come back to that. Right, so it's the harmony part that I'm more interested in, but unfortunately, I have to do the I have to do the the thing. Wolfman. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, when you say even if Paul wrote it without him in 1999, what you mean is it appeared on a record that Paul is credited as the writer on in 1999. Yeah, but you have to remember that on that same record is also the song Poison Eyes, which is on a Racer X live album from 10 years before. Also on that album is the song Miss Mistreat Her, which Bruce Bouillet is credited as the sole writer on it. So I actually think that a lot of the material on Technical Difficulties was old. A lot of it was old material that they brought to life again. So I think, to be completely honest, it's been a long time since I listened to, long time since I've been listening to like early Racer X. Obviously, growing up on that Racer X forum, I used to know a hell of a lot more. I feel that they used to play Fire of Rock back in the day. I think there's Racer X bootlegs of them playing that. I can't see him because I know that there certainly was some bad blood around the Racer X reunion. So I can't see him, going out of his way to learn. Learn and incorporate a song from an album that he didn't want to be a part of. I just don't see it. Anyway, so rhythmic. Pretty much all of this, apart from one bar of 3, is in 4/4. Yeah, so we're going to put this as that as like a heavy vibrato. Whoops. What the hell went wrong with that? There we go. Hang on. Whoa. Let's just rewind here. UK Guitar Noodle, are you who I think you are? Why does Medley not own Paul's BC Rich? I don't know why I said Paul. Did Mr. Medley sell Paul's BC Rich? The Mockingbird. He does pull off to an open string there. And then it's a hammer. No worries, Wolfman. I mean, I don't know what you're thanking me for, but but you are right. He did. Well, from what I was told, he did refuse to be part of that reunion. I could go for some Chinese food right about now. And the best way to help me get that Chinese food is to hit... God, Jesus. I'm just a hopeless corporate shell, aren't I? Sorry, let's try that again. A hopeless corporate shill, aren't I? Yeah, so... Like... Super chat, that's where we go. That's how I get my Chinese food. Because I'm wasting away, you know. If I don't eat Chinese food tonight, I'll die. Gino, thank you very much for checking out my channel based on Rick Beato's recommendation. I love Rick. Rick is, I'm not going to say a dear friend, because that would insinuate that he's a dear friend. Rick is somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and it astonishes me. It astonishes me that someone as high up in the industry as Rick would even take the time to watch my content, let alone take the time to get to know me. So that was one of my highlights of last year, actually. Right towards the end of the year, Rick was on one of my streams and he commented and said, Levi's streams are absolutely my favourite streams. And I was like, wow, that's the best compliment I've ever got. So it sounds like we're getting that pull off to that open string again. And then we'll get repetition. So copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Where we can copy, where we can paste, we do that. Jesus Christ, upside down. Stop. When I'm trying to get super chats, you don't need to give them to me. You're already a moderator. You already support me on Patreon. You're too kind. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was going to say from New England to England, but I'm in Scotland, and also I need to double check that you are actually in New England. You're in Maine, right? See this rhythm here, I feel that that's like just laziness. So I'm just going to copy paste that though, because I am even more lazy. John, how's it going? How's it going? Looking and sounding great, man. Would love to have been involved, but complete career change. Really? Are you not doing any guitar? You're not playing any guitar? Not transcribing? No, Bumble Bess, you are totally wrong. You totally are totally wrong. It's dollars, right? And the pound has absolutely crashed. So $5 now is like £400 or something like that. So thank you, Brexit. Oh, here's a fun one. Let me give you an update on the last stream that we did, right? So last stream, where's my thing? I'll give you the full update. So on the last stream, well, 2 streams ago, right at the end of the stream, I had to leave the stream abruptly because I got a phone call telling me my wife had been in a car crash. So she was hit by a lorry. That was a while ago now, and the lorry company won't admit liability. You know, the lorry that drove into her won't admit liability until their lorry gets back to their depot so they can look at the CCTV and see what happened. So they will not admit liability to my insurance or to her insurance company until that happens. How long are lorries out for? You know what I mean? Like, that lorry could be out for weeks, months. And until that happens, she's essentially carless. She's got nothing. She can't drive. She's got no way to get to work, right? So, if her car could be repaired, then obviously she'd have a courtesy car. But her car's been written off. Her car is worthless now. So the insurance company have written her car off, and they are saying, right, so either you're going to be liable for your excess, your £500 excess, or we'll eventually get liability. Either way, you know, you're not entitled to a courtesy car now because your car's written off. You need to get a new car. So yeah, it's a case now of my poor wife, has no car. My poor wife, who has to travel 13 miles to get to work every day, has no car. So I'm having to drive her to work where possible, where I've got the time to. I was up at 8 o'clock this morning to drive her to work. I've not seen that time of day for years, but I had to drive her to work. And though her shifts can be unpredictable, She finishes. She's a manager for a bank. She finishes at midnight tomorrow. I'm really hoping I don't have to go and get her. Really hoping I don't have to go and get her. But with all of this stress comes sadness. She's very, very sad. She's extremely stressed, very anxious person anyway. And the fact that kind of uncertainty that you can just be out there doing your thing, living your life, driving to and from work, doing your job, and someone else can drive into you and can ruin everything, put you thousands of pounds out of pocket because, spoilers, when the insurance company give her money for the write-off of her car, that's not going to be enough to buy a replacement car, is it? Let's be realistic. So, yeah, she's very sad. She's very sad, very anxious, actually stressed, to be honest, about the idea of having to drive. So what that means is I have to treat her like a princess, and I know you'll see where I'm going with this. That means that I'll have to get Chinese food for her too. So we'll both be eating Chinese food tonight, and that will mean a lot to her because she likes Chinese food. I mean, who doesn't like Chinese food? Anyway, that was a bit of a. I just wanted to rant about that whole insurance thing because it really is annoying me. I'm a very safe driver. Everyone thinks they're a safe driver, I guess, but I've not had any actual issues with my car. I'm very cautious. I'm very aware when I'm on the road. I don't drive up people's asses, and my wife panics when people pull out on me, etc. And I'm like, don't worry, I knew that was going to happen about 10 seconds ago and I've accounted for it. I'm very aware when I'm driving because I think you need to be. But then you just remember that you have to remember that actually other people on the road are useless. Not everybody, but they're lunatics. There are other lunatics on the road and they can ruin everything for you. And it's outrageous. And insurance, I'm not going to say is a scam, but it is a scam. Insurance is the biggest scam in the world for one simple reason. When you buy insurance, you are supposed to buy one thing with that, and that's peace of mind. I pay you money, so if something goes wrong, I'll be okay. But that isn't what insurance buys you. Insurance does not buy you peace of mind at all. Insurance buys you stress, because if you actually have an accident, who's ever had to claim on their insurance and gone, well, it's fine, I've got insurance? That's not what happens. You go, I mean, it should be fine, because I've got insurance and I guess I can spend 10 hours arguing with them to try and get, the thing I paid for. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. And then we got the big vibrato on that. These are all simple melodies, right? Any insurance company would tell you that they sell peace of mind. I think people that are nervous flyers, like terrified of flying because planes can crash, right? And people come back with the counter argument of, yeah, but flying's the safest way to travel. I think there's probably, while that is true, flying is the safest way to travel, I think it's probably a skewing of statistics, or at least why flying is the safest way to travel. The reason flying is the safest way to travel is because, well, considerably fewer planes are in the air than cars are on the road, but also the people that fly planes are fucking masters of flying planes, right? But how many idiots do you know that drive cars? That's why driving is so fucking dangerous. It's not because cars inherently are dangerous. It's because too many people don't understand the responsibility of driving a 2-ton death machine. Insurance businesses don't gamble on you not having accidents. Insurance companies gamble on, if they have an accident, let's see if we can work out a way that we don't have to pay them. I hate them. I've never had to claim insurance for anything, Eva. Anyway, so now to the harmony stuff, right? Apparently not now to the harmony stuff. I was sure the harmony came in there. Marshall, GTV, tell us a horror story. Tell us, an aspect of that was difficult for you. So that's better for me because I think that's a better representation of what Bruce is going for there. And I think actually what we're looking at is that. And again, it's slightly different this time. That's how I would imagine that first bit should have gone. Now we get the harmony. All in all, though, thus far, I don't think there's anything too tricky in that, right? If we get the right tempo, I can obviously use transcribe to compute the tempo. Markers, compute tempo. I'm going to get about 150 BPM. So if I put that 150 in, and then we have a listen. This is my favourite representation of that rhythmically. Okay, then we go into harmony. Now, for those of you that are completely new, for anyone that is watching this stream watching one of my streams for the first time, and you are unaware of my process for transcription, sorry, I've just seen that my wife has messaged me. My process for doing this type of thing is sing. So I'm really looking to listen to what Bruce is playing. I think as musicians, it's so easy to not pay attention to the thing that you're transcribing. You just put your fingers down on your guitar. You notice I'm doing this without a guitar. You put your fingers down on your guitar until you find the note, and then you just keep repeating that. You just trying to find another note, and that isn't how I think you get better. I don't think that's how you develop your ear, right? I think what we need to do is we need to listen to Bruce here. He plays ba 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 da ba do da da ba do da da ba do da da ba da 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 ba 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 do ba da ba 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 do ba da ba ba. I can see he actually fingers a bad note in there, but melodically, ba 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 da ba da ba ba. So ba 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 da ba da. Now Bruce plays this. Ba 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 da ba da ba. Okay, that is correct. Bo bo ba do ba da bo ba bo bo ba do ba da bo ba. Bob. Now I feel this is a bum note. But that is what he plays. Bo ba ba da bo ba ba da ba da bo da. Bo bo ba do ba da bo da. Yeah. Continue. Can we hear it? Bo ba 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 da bo ba bo ba bo ba ba da Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Now, at this point, we've probably got a good idea of what he's likely to play. Ba 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 da ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Yeah. Let me read these comments, see what I've missed. Hopefully Marshall has a story for me. I can see he's commented. We'll get there. Top drawer. Many idiots who I'm surprised are on the road. Yeah. Thanks for the Aussie stuff as well. You're very, very welcome, John. Very welcome. Oh, sorry. Oz, literally Oz. I assumed, sorry, I transcribed some Aussie stuff and then you said you hadn't heard of him. I'd be very surprised if you haven't heard of Aussie. But Oz Noy, I assume you're talking about, yeah. Bumblebess, insurance dropped you after 8 years. No account because I missed one payment. That sucks. Ben Scott, sucks, dude. Glad I can contribute towards my well-deserved Chinese. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to get some Chinese food tonight, and my super chats are going to pay for it. Okay, and no matter what, that's what's happening, and I am going to Instagram what I got from super chats. So if that's like a tub of rice and an iron brew, awesome. I can't wait to share that. That would be funny. But I do appreciate it. It's very, very generous. Well, no one was at fault for their accidents. Sorry, let me rephrase that. No one was at fault for their accidents. So trying to explain that they were wrong was always a challenge. Yeah, I do get that. Handling lawsuits, dealing with attorneys. So, Marshall, I do want to throw this out there just so you know that I'm not being one of those guys who's like, well, it wasn't my wife's fault. It wasn't my wife's fault. A lorry clearly couldn't see my wife was there because he was in the outside lane trying to do a U-turn, and he, in turning, drove into the back side of her. So in any other scenario, you'd obviously look at that and you'd be like, well, you should absolutely, you need to give lorries more space, etc. Sure, if you're behind a lorry and you're approaching it, you need to give them space. But if you're in front of something, you can't, other than speeding up, like, how do you give something space? It's just not really an option. So in dealing with this claim, the first couple of people that we dealt with all said, we need to wait for the lorry company to admit liability. We need to wait for the lorry company to admit liability. Then we dealt with somebody else after I've said, cool, well, that's going to take too long. My wife is in tears. Her anxiety is blowing up through the roof. It's just too much, right? That's going to take a while. That's fine. Would there be a way that I could just pay her excess now? We could get the car on the way to being repaired, and she can get a courtesy car so she can, get to work, because this is gonna fuck up our lives. And they said, cool, no problem. We're happy to do that. Awesome, cool. So here's the crazy thing: they organised that courtesy car. Well, they said, we'll get your car in for repairs and we'll sort a courtesy car out. That later that day, my wife phoned them because she wasn't sure whether it was the company's name is Auxilis, whether or not it was the insurance company in question, or the people that were dealing with the claim, or if it was going to be the garage that were dealing with the car. And at that point, the person from Auxilis said, I've received the photos of your accident and I've received the layout of the road, and based on these pictures alone, there's absolutely no way that you're liable in this situation. There's absolutely no way that you could have caused this. The lorry driver was clearly in the wrong lane. He was on a diversion on a road he was unfamiliar with, and drove into the back of you. Like, cool, fair enough. Absolutely no way that you're at fault for this. So you don't need to pay your excess. That's fine. and I will sort out a courtesy car for you. We'll cancel the other one, and I will sort out a courtesy car for you now. Cue 20 minutes, 30 minutes of dealing with contracts and liability stuff, like essentially like hire purchase agreements, etc. for my wife. So if the courtesy car got damaged, that she'd have to pay for damages, etc., etc. Cool. Dealt with all that paperwork. Awesome. Fine. Then 3 hours later, the company phoned back again to say, we've cancelled that courtesy car. And it's like, hang on a minute. This is the second courtesy car that I've had booked today, and you've just cancelled that. Why have you cancelled that? Well, because we need to wait for the lorry company to admit liability. What is wrong with you people? So why are you fucking my life up like this? And more importantly, why has one of your colleagues looked at this situation, looked at these photos and said, you're clearly not liable for this. I'll sort you out. And then someone else has come in and gone, no, we can't do that. Can't do that. It's because they're hoping. They're just hoping, aren't they? They're oh, hate it. Absolutely hate it. Sorry to rage about that so much. It's been an absolute mind-numbing. Like, to be honest, my wife has said that she thought being in a car crash was going to be the most stressful thing that she's had to deal with in her life, but just dealing with the incompetence of this company has been considerably more stressful and has contributed considerably more tears and considerably more stress on her mental health than a car crash, than being hit by a lorry. When your company is so useless that my wife would rather be hit by a lorry than deal with you again. It's insane. Absolutely insane. I'm glad I can laugh about it, but I'll cheer her up with Chinese food. And I'll tell her you guys bought it, so thank you. Right, so Jesse says, just so I don't miss anything looking it up, could someone clarify what a lorry... Oh, haha! Lorry. Lorry. A truck. A 14-ton truck. A freight hauler. A lorry. I'm like, a lorry, like a Hugh Laurie? I see what you're saying now. That's exactly the point, Upside Down. If they hadn't cancelled that first courtesy car, she would have had a courtesy car that day, or the next day. But at that point, because they cancelled that one and then cancelled the second one, by this time, the repairs shop had gone, well, it's probably going to be a write-off, so we're not going to give you a courtesy car now. It's like, awesome. Thank you, you incompetent fucks. Let's keep going. Oh, no, you know what? Let's listen to this little phrase. So this note here is definitely wrong. It should be this. But Bruce definitely plays this. I'm going to put that in brackets because I want that to be a note. I want to pay attention to that. I want that to be acknowledged because obviously, as I say, this is a transcription challenge for my Patreon guys. And when they're done with it, I don't want them. I want to, when I'm looking at their work and mine, I want to say, okay, there's a reason I've put that note there, and then I'll remember why. So the wife, she's got out of work. She's managed to get from the industrial estate that she works on to Motherwell, which is a local town to us, and she's now looking for a way to get a bus back. She was going to be getting 2 trains and a bus to get home, but somebody kindly gave her a lift to Motherwell. She was expecting to be home at 8 p.m. It's now 6 p.m. and she's in my local town. So obviously, for obvious reasons, I can't run and get her, but yeah. Awful. Why is my life such a mess? Red lolly, yellow lolly, red lolly, yellow lorry, rollo, yeah. So this is a great example of beginner's transcription stuff, right? You should be able to listen to this. Ba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. And you well, let's go up to there. Da, 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Now, if you can't do that, if you can't listen to a phrase like that and go da 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 da, the pitch in that last bit is not overly essential. It's more of a rhythmic thing, right? Da 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 dagga 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 da 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 da. And I'm clicking my fingers because I really need to emphasize the pulse. The pulse is important. When we write music out, we're writing it in relation to a pulse. So the first note, da, da. First 2 beats, 1, 2, and. So when I write that, that's what I write. Ba, da, 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 ba. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Ba, 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 ba. And then that holds. Oh, wife is phoning. Hello. I messaged you. I said I'm streaming. You okay? Have you got that sorted? Okay. You think a bus will come? Awesome. It's terrible, isn't it? Because you get so used to driving. You're like, how do buses work again? You don't even know how to pay for a bus. Awesome. Go on. Okay, I'm going to put you on loudspeaker in a second. I'm going to deliver you some news, and then I just want you to respond naturally as you would, okay? All right, Red? Yeah. What? Well, let's find out. All right, hang on, where are you? You're on loudspeaker. Say hello.
Hello.
Try again.
Hello.
Yeah, cool. I think they can probably hear that. My lovely people watching this live stream have super chatted us so we can get some Chinese food tonight.
Oh, that's nice. People are sweet.
Is that it? Just that's nice?
Well, what do you want me to say?
Probably thank you, young grateful.
Oh yeah, sorry, thank you. Oh, that's really nice, though. Thank you. I mean, I feel like that's nice. Answers that thank you question as well.
Okay, you're off loudspeaker now. No, I know. I do apologise. Now, people are now suggesting I do a mobile stream so I go pick you up in the car. Yeah, a bus will turn up eventually. Awesome. Love you too. Bye. Sorry, I thought I'd see if I could make her cry, because everything makes her cry. She just cry out happiness and appreciation. Anyway, yeah, so this melody, da 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 da, that lasts for 2 beats, and then we have this 16th note run, da ga da ga da ga da da, ba da 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 da. I think that's what he played. Da ba da da ba 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 ba. Let's check. Yeah. Da da ba da 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 da. Oh yeah, of course, Ross, you're local. I mean, that would be cool, but she'd probably be terrified. Like, who is this man? So ba da ba ba. Damn it. Ba da ba ba da. Ba 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 da 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 da. Let's check that. I'm just checking for what he picks. Da da. Yeah, it's pick hammer. Pick. So pick pull off. Pick hammer. And then he does pick those 2 descending notes. Of course, I'm not aiming to look. I'm really trying to listen and pick attack, especially for this style of guitar. Very obvious where you can hear that really aggressive, sharp sound of the pick. Oh, how did I forget? This stream is also brought to you by VPix. Go and check out VPix. I wouldn't want you to go and pick her up for one simple reason, Ross. I like you watching my streams. There we go. Miss Mistreated doing a Racer X transcription. I finally elevated my skill level to what Mitch used to be. Can we hear this? Da 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 da. So rhythmically, it's the same as the first bar, but note-wise, ba 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 da da da. I mean, just so you know, Bumblebest, my wife is Scottish, not Irish. She says things like, hello. Though with a maiden name like Donahue, she's Irish in heritage. And Mitch is the reason that you've learned so many Racer X tunes. Yeah, man, Mitch. I don't even think he plays anymore. We're friends on Facebook. I vividly remember going to my first... I'll bring this up. So I went to my first ever Paul Gilbert gig. I was living in Ipswich at the time, and I travelled all the way down to London to go and see Paul Gilbert. It was on the... what tour would that have been on? Yeah, it was the Get Out of My Yard tour, okay? So we travelled down to the London Astoria to see Racer X, and I met up with a bunch of guys from the forum, obviously. And I was very young. Must have been, well, the album came out in 2006, so you're probably looking at 2006. The tour must have been 2006, if not 2007. So I was born in 88. I was 12 in 2000. Yeah, so I was probably 16, if not 17. And I travelled all the way down to London, and I met up with some of my Racer X Racer X friends. In touch with most of those guys still all these years on. For those of you that remember Lama, or Lama, guy from Poland, he came over for it. That was a really, really cool night. And we met Paul afterwards, but me and Mitch really wanted to meet Paul. And we knew, Mitch lived in Essex. We knew that we were going to miss our transport if we stayed around to meet Paul. And we just agreed that we don't care. We're just going to do it. We're going to do it, and then we're going to wander the streets of London until the first train in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So we did that, and I spent the night with Mitch hanging out in London, walking from the Astoria to London Liverpool Street. And we got to Liverpool Street with like 5 hours to spare, and we found this all night cafe, and we sat in there, and I ordered like a horrible cheap steak, and we sat in this place for like 4 hours, which was terrible. But there's certainly a memory, definitely a memory. I remember that night vividly. That was cool. I'm glad I got to spend some time with him, because obviously Mitch was extremely, extremely important to the guitar learning Racer X community, because he was transcribing everything for people. Ba da ba 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 da 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 da. Ba da ba da ba ma da ba bo ba ba da 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 da. That's great. That chord there. What was that? First inversion chord. I mean, it's a total opposite, isn't it? Upside down. Really, people should be taking money away from me, so I can't buy Chinese food and be a terrible fat monster. Da ba da da da. And melodically, rhythmically. Ba 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 da. Does he slide into that? Ba da da. Ba da da da. We could put vibrato in this, but I tend not to. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's descending scale. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-ga-da-ga-da-ga-da-ga. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Getting to meet Paul Gilbert. Whoo! That was. I remember. I took down. I took down every single Racer X album that I had to get signed, because that was what was important to me. And then the second time I met Paul and got to hang out with Paul that time, I took all of my Mr. Big albums to get signed. I think I've got 1 or 2 solo albums signed. I was listening to Paul in the car today, actually. The Paul the Young Dude album. It's a best of album, and I like it because there's a second disc with that called Gilbert Hotel, and that album isn't on Spotify. Gilbert Hotel isn't on Spotify. It's an acoustic album, and it's got there's some cool songs in there. 3 Times Rana is on there, and what else is on that album? I was listening to it just this morning, and I'm forgetting the damn songs that are on it. So this is legato. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Ba, da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Yeah, it is a hammer there. That's awkward. Yeah, that's it. It felt like that. We are not worthy. We're not worthy. Totally felt like that. Gilbert. Let's have a look. Let's see what the track's on it. It does. You are absolutely right. Yeah, so 3 Times Rana is a great song. Black Rain Cloud is good. Escalating Music Instrumental, not so much. Lay Off the Morphine, yeah, not too bad. Then you got NFRO, which is the Goldberg Variations. Older Guy, which is funny. It's got a cover of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, which is pretty good. Time to Let You Go, the Donny V song, that's a good tune. WTRO, which is the Bach Prelude in C from the Well-Tempered Clavier. And Universal is the final song on there. So, yeah. As I say, that album is not on Spotify. So, yeah. It says 2000 release solo album, formerly available. It's gone. Initially released as a bonus CD with his compilation album, Paul the Young Dude, the best of Paul Gilbert. I say that. It says, was initially released, but I don't know if it got a separate release. I figured if it got a separate release, it would be on Spotify, but it's not on Spotify. So, oh, good old Acoustic Samurai, yeah. I had that on the other day because I've been transcribing with students. I've been doing I Am Satan because it's a great example of chord progression that's diatonic, but then using a song, using a chord from outside of the key. So it's in the key of C, and the chord progression in the chorus is F, G, A minor, C, F, G, D7 sus, G7, I think, F, G, A minor, C, and then you have an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 to F to G. So, yeah. Well, Jesse, you'll struggle to hear the acoustic Paul Gilbert album. I'm sure it'll be on YouTube. But honestly, this like Rana, 3 Times Rana. That's a good song. I think I've got an update from the wife. Let's have a look. She's on a bus and it goes to Wishaw. She's coming home. I Am Satan is a hilarious song. It's so Beatles though as well. You know what? I'll give this credit to Paul. The song "Mr. Spock" might be one of his best written songs. That's on Spaceship One. Rhythmically here, da da do da da do. This is worth addressing. Ba da do da da do da da do da da do. You'll see people do that lazily, and they'll put triplet quarter notes in there. This isn't triplet quarter notes. This is ba da do. Let's get the right notes. Ba-da-do. It's that rhythm. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 da da do da 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 do ba da do da da do. Oh yeah, the intro on Mr. Spock is really annoying, really annoying. It's ring modulator. I think there's a ring modulator on there. But aside from that song, see if I remember it. I can't breathe. There's too much dust in the air. I can't see. B. 'Cause all this grease in my hair is getting in my eyes and makes me look like I'm. Makes me look like I'm. Crying makes me look like where's he go from there? Makes me look like it's getting in my eyes and makes me look like here's an A. Crying can't stay. Already been here too long. Can't leave. Don't wanna leave you alone, but I'm a big strong boy, so don't you think that I'm crying. It's the rain outside getting on my face, all the foam from a glass so big. All the water fountain was misplaced, it is. And then you have that really cool anything but a tear, anything but a tear. As an F sharp major, so you have that really cool F sharp minor 7, da 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 da, E over G sharp, da da A, da 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 B, da da, and then F sharp 7, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Wrong way. Da 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 da. And then you got that. Da 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 da. That's a really nice chord progression. That minor 7 flat 5 in there. Both that and I Am Satan both use that minor 7 flat 5 chord, and it's very cool. Very, very cool. A circular saw with picks on every single tooth. I love it. You make a great point there about it being out of his vocal range. So it's out of my vocal range, obviously. It's such a well-composed song, but it's a song for someone else to sing. It's not in his key. It's absolutely right that it's not in his key. And if you think the studio recording of it is bad, it's not. It's average. If you check out the Spaceship Live DVD version of it where he's singing it, oh, that is not good. It's not good. Whoops. And he'll play that there, won't he? Ah. I'm getting actual ear pain now. Whoops. And we like that because we get 2 bars. This was there's a great comment there about Freddie Nelson and Tony Spinner, right? Good point. But that United States album with Freddie Nelson, there's some really good moments on that album. Really good moments on that album. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, and then. Yeah. I don't see how this rhythm bothers me. I feel it's more that. And this kind of implies that a little bit more. So let's put that like that. Okay. So that's the entirety of Fire of Rock from this medley. To be honest, I feel I need to check some of the things that are being mentioned here about some of Paul's stuff, because I haven't listened to a Paul Gilbert album since... Where is his solo albums? Since United States, which came out in 2009. Fuzz Universe, I listened to very briefly. Vibrato, I listened to one song on it. Stone Pushing Uphill Man, I listened to one song on it. I Can Destroy, I've not heard it. I genuinely have not heard it. Can't even tell you what the cover looks like. Behold Electric Guitar, I've not heard it. And Werewolves of Portland, obviously, I've not heard it. I may have seen the cover. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I've seen the cover to that, but yeah. When Paul went back to playing instrumental music, I just kind of lost interest. It wasn't really what I wanted. Wasn't what I enjoyed. I wanted Racer X. We all wanted Racer X. Ciego Guitarist has returned. There were dishes to be done, and we go for a strong of will. I can totally relate to that. I totally relate to that. Now, there was a question from Fred who asked about marking this section out. The answer to this is that there's a bar of 3 in here for some reason. Because when you listen to the riff on Heart of a Lion, it doesn't start on beat 1. It's 1, 2, 3, do 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 do. If I count it as like this, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that chord stab, that B, comes on beat 2. Down, do, do, do. I'm gonna have a little break because I want to tell you a story. But before I tell you this story, please do check me out on Patreon. You can support me for as little as $1. As little as $1. Oh, Fred's watching. That's fantastic. Yeah, bar 3 in there. You can support me on Patreon for as little as $1. Upside Down will post a link to that in the comment section. It should be in the description. It should automatically be in the description. But yeah, probably won't be. And please do check out one of my books. Right, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. So when I was younger, when I was in college, still massively into Racer X, I'm really into Racer X, I couldn't transcribe. I could not transcribe at all. The idea of transcribing, no, not even possible. And it makes sense when you think about it, because I grew up around guys like Mitch on the Racer X forums. I mentioned Mitch earlier. He transcribed all of the Racer X stuff. He transcribed all Paul Gilbert stuff, and he was fast. He was really good. He was fast at doing it. It wasn't just that I couldn't transcribe, it's that I never had a need to transcribe. I never had to transcribe anything, right? So because guys like Mitch were doing it, it was a skill that I never developed. So if I wanted to learn something, I needed someone else's transcription of it. I needed someone else's transcription. And that became a problem because there was all this stuff that I wanted to learn, but there were no tabs of it. And I wanted to learn a lot of the Racer X stuff. So I don't even remember the guy's name now, right? But years and years ago when I was in college, I ended up getting a contact in Japan. And he was my tab book guy. He was my tab book specialist. Because I knew that some of these weird books existed. I knew that they existed. I knew they were printed. And you just needed an expert who knew where they could find them. And they would buy them on my behalf. And, they'd put a nice little markup on them. And then they'd send them to me. So there was a point in my life where I had tab books for every single Racer X album. Every single Racer X album, including the live albums. Officially released tab books from Japan. And that was awesome because it meant that I could learn the things that Mitch didn't transcribe. I could learn the riffs to things like Heart of a Lion. I could learn Poison Eyes and all of that stuff, which is just crazy now because I listen to this stuff like now and I'm like, man, I wish I just put in the time to learn, to work out what those guys were playing. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the skill to do it back then. And it's very silly. You should all develop this skill. The skill that I'm looking at here. It's not a hard thing to do. It's totally not a hard thing to do. You're capable of doing this. I believe in you. The sad thing, one of those regret things, is we all regret selling things in life. Like we've all sold guitars that we probably shouldn't have sold. We've all been in places, times where we've needed some extra money and sold things that we wish that we didn't sell. I sold all of my Racer X tab books. I sold all of them. They were all signed by Paul Gilbert as well, and I sold them all. And didn't even get close to what I paid for them. I paid a lot of money for those books, obviously. So I wish that I still had those. I'd be interested to go back and check. That's the point that Fred points out there. These are not just guitar tab books. These were band score books. I wish I could go back and have those again, and look through the work, because some of those Japanese band score stuff was dreadful, but some of it was actually quite good. Some of it was actually very good. Russell Ward says that Paul's wearing suits now. Find it weird. Used to seeing him in those orange spandex pants that say everybody all over them. Yeah. Brute Sooth says, I have a couple of those tab books. Oh, okay. Remember them being somewhat imperfect tabs. Well, if you ever want to get rid of those tab books, this guy regrets not having them. Let me know. I still do have one Japanese band score book, and it's the Mr. Big, the Lean Into It one. I've still got the Lean Into It book, and it's not because I chose to keep it. It's because, well, no, I've got that one and Extremes Pornography, and it's because they weren't on my shelf when I sold all of my books. So yeah. And Fred, I don't want to see them. I want to have them. I want them. I want to buy them again. I should like, it's silly spending money on stuff like that. I'm never going to use it, but I want them. I just want them in my collection again. I've got some things in my book collection, that are just like I've got the Sean Lane book, not the tab book, but there was an instructional book that was put out, and it's really hard to come by, and it's like one of my, not prized possessions, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this is in a bar of 3. 1, 2, and I don't know why he did that. I would have probably just left the beat. He didn't need to. It feels quite odd to just jump into it like that. You could have that empty bar, but he doesn't. He has a bar of 3, 4. And we have 1, 2. So, then we're into 4. For the rest of the transcription, we are in 4/4, I think. That goes for the whole bar. Ties into the next bar. He's only hitting those 2 notes. You can definitely hear the A note in there. Anytime you hear that, that's so da da da. That's so like glam rock, you know. That's so T-Rex or Slade, you know. It's like a Mark Bolan riff. Whoops. Okay. It's like a C sharp, so it's going to be 2nd fret, pinch harmonic. Now I'm going to have to go in here and take out indicate where string is touched. So Bumblebest, you're absolutely right. Tab books are really cheap, but not these ones. Not these ones. One of the really cool things about building my YouTube channel and getting to a stage now where people watch me and word gets around, I've been in touch with Snakebite. Snakebite is actually I was not going to say I've got to know Snakebite, but yeah, I've been chatting with Snakebite, and it's amazing to have a conversation with somebody that's so integral to the history of Racer X. Yeah, so back when I was in college, I was paying about £60 or £70 for those Racer X tab books each when I imported them from Japan. So it wouldn't surprise me if they are quite pricey now. Let's have a look. Racer X tab book. And at the time, I couldn't get them on eBay. They weren't a thing on eBay. The only way I could get them was you'd find people that were able to import them. Okay, yeah, so the Racer X second heat band score from Japan is currently £94 on eBay if you wanted to order that. That's with a 10% discount. The Superheroes book is £85. The Extreme Volume 2, the live one, that's £150. And there's a best of one that's £32. Now, it's worth pointing out, I don't need to tell you guys how sales work, right? But that's what people are trying to charge for them. The fact that they haven't sold, the fact that they are there for that price suggests that they're not worth that, because otherwise they wouldn't be there. People would pay it. But that's what people are trying to get for market value. I think market value for them is probably a little bit lower than that. It's about what people would be willing to pay for them. Would I be willing to... I'd probably be willing to punt about £50 on each book. To me, that's what they're worth. Yeah. So Nuno said that he used to play a live solo that was every studio solo he'd done, because even pre-internet days, even pre-internet days, he had to shut the trolls out and say anybody can punch in a good studio solo. It's easy for Nuno to say that, but there are certain parts of like Pornography where Nuno has to sit down on the drum riser so he can put his guitar in a position so he can actually play the damn thing. So now we can keep it in 4. We've got the rest, 1. Ba, ba. Ooh. Here's a G. Staccato. Cool. So now what I do is I would copy paste this and then fix what I need to fix in order for it to be correct. So obviously this is a bar 4 now. We will... Don't crash. Yeah. 2. Staccato. Let's make that staccato too. So we don't want that silly pinch harmonic there. Now, I hate to not have a learning opportunity. Ba, ba, ba. This chord, I used that all the time when I was younger, probably from the music that I was listening to. And I would always call this something like, you know, B flat sharp 5, or maybe like A sharp augmented or something like that. It's really important that we learn what this chord is, that particular voicing. If I do this, if I write that chord like that, don't call this a C sharp sharp 5 or a C sharp augmented or anything like that. You have to understand that this is someone trying to play an A chord, but they've got the third in the bass. So this is an A over C sharp. Root note on the top, third on the bottom. And in fact, if I put this A underneath and pad it out like that, it's an A chord. It's an A chord. Or if I played, you know, that's an A. If I do this, that's an A over C sharp. Well, if I take that and that, but change it to that and that, that's what you have. It's an A over C sharp. So when I see this, this is an F sharp major chord. F sharp major. Love it. It's my childhood here. So, but on the upbeat. I'll put a rest in there. You can't see, can you? Sorry. Get out of the way, stupid head. There we go. Oh. If you want to be pedantic, we could do like the slide down on that. I'll copy paste and then fix. So I'm going to get rid of that and then it slides up. Let's delete that. Ba-da. Ba-da-da-da-ba. That'll be yeah, that's when the F sharp chord lands. Now I want to put tempos in, so this is... So tempo changes in there. So if I go markers, compute tempo, we are at about 130. So here we want to go for 130. Let's put 132. That will help us get that. Well, won't help us. It will actually get that tempo change. Zoom in again. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Maybe I should do some Paul Gilbert. Da da da. That's. I'm gonna put that in an X. I'm going to go... I think that's a pretty good representation of rhythmically what would go there. Ta-da! Yeah, hammer-ons on both of those. Sextuplets. Probably move that over there so I can see. Yeah. I'll put that in brackets again because it's a bum note. Alright, what's going on in the comments? Yep. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Those of you that are leaving, I'll be leaving shortly as well. So, Jesse asks, Levi, did your Aussie video transcription stream get copyright claimed? I missed the second stream, and when I wanted to watch it later, it said it couldn't be viewed. Jesse, yes, it did. It got a copyright strike for the I played 6 or 7 seconds of Crazy Train, the actual studio recording. I played it at 70% speed, thinking that wouldn't pick it up. What I ended up doing is it is live. You can actually go back and watch it now. I've just muted the audio during that part, so you can't hear that audio anymore. But it is still there. So, yeah. Everyone's annoyed by the way Bruce holds the pick. Bruce is a great example of, like, he holds the pick like Van Halen holds the pick, man. Ow. Right, what's my wife messaging me saying? Because I'm probably going to head. Okay, my wife is home, so I'm going to head out in a second. Oh, Bruce is in the... Bruce is here. Bruce is here. Bruce, going to reply to my email, bud. I'm now checking my email to see if you've actually responded to my email yet. You have not. You've been getting lots of love in this comment section, Bruce. Why don't we have a listen, seeing as the man himself is here? Let's actually see if we can play it along with the recording. It should get this okay. I think if I that it will need to be there. That's really annoying. How can I do this? If I do that, I think we should be okay. If I go... I need to count in on it. Let's try this. I'll come straight in like that, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just go from there. Tempo's probably a little bit off. Let me do a check on that. Markers, compute tempo. 150. Yeah, so, okay. Let's just go from here. So if I give that count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow. Let's make it a little bit faster. 152. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're a bit fast. Oh, Bruce, you can help us out with this, right? If you're still listening. Fire of Rock, obviously, that you play at the start of this particular medley. You obviously you didn't play on the Technical Difficulties album, but I'm pretty sure Fire of Rock, Racer X used to play that like way back in the day. I'm sure I remember on one of the Racer X bootleg concerts that I have that that was absolutely something that Racer X used to play back in the day, right? Right, I've totally fucked this up, haven't I? Let's go to 151. I really do want to go somewhere with this. 151, because I would really like to get to the next section. It's just a little bit too slow. Let's go from here. I certainly, yeah, I'm glad that you've corrected that. I was sure that I'd heard it back in the day. Let's go to the harmony section. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make that a little bit faster. Wait, there's 1, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. Still a little bit slow. Chaos ensues. Well, Bruce, I don't just want to feature the medley. I sent you an email. I want to feature you. I want to get you on the channel. I want to get a video. I want to do an interview with you. I want to talk about what it's like to be involved in winning a Grammy. I want to talk about teaching at GIT. I want to talk about what it was like back in the day. Stories of Les Wise. Stories of Don Mock. Stories of Howard Roberts. I'm sure you knew these guys. stories of what that scene was like, stories of how music has changed, and of course what you're up to today. So hit me up, Facebook or email. I'd love to have you on. I'd love that more than anything. Yeah. Yep. Very much appreciated. Anyway, guys, my wife has returned home, so I'm going to go and buy her a Chinese with the £9 that we've made on Super Chats here, and because she deserves it, and and I will absolutely Instagram that picture of that Chinese food, of us enjoying our Chinese. So yes, big thank you to all of my supporters over on Patreon. Thank you very much for allowing streams like this to happen, helping me take the time out of actual paid transcription stuff so I can do stuff like this. Very much appreciated. Please do also check me out on Amazon. You can find one of my find some of my books on Amazon. That is all very much appreciated. And all of that good stuff. Latest book, of course, is 100 Slide Licks for Blues Guitar. That is appreciated too. And check out my friends over at VPix. And of course, go and check Bruce Bouillet out. One of the great players of the 80s. One of the underrated players of the 80s, because unfortunately he had to play next to Paul Gilbert, and everyone wants to talk about fucking Paul Gilbert. And not that I don't love Paul, but yeah, you go back and you listen to like Bruce's solo on the Extreme Live CD. He's just got there's just a vibe to it. And actually, you know what? I don't know how I didn't mention this. He played in a band after Racer X called The Scream, right? And the album is called Let It Scream. Let's double check that. Yeah. So The Scream, which featured John Corabi on vocals, who would fill in for what's his face, car crash killer from Motley Crue. He was the singer in Vince Neil. Yeah, he replaced Vince Neil in Motley Crue. The Scream's album, their debut album, Let It Scream, is great. There's some really cool stuff on there. Apparently there was a second album, an unreleased album from 1993 called Taking It to the Next Level. Obviously I've never heard that, but the album Let It Scream is absolutely killer. It opens up with a track called Outlaw, and there's like slide vibe stuff on there. It highlights, I think, what Bruce was always the elements that Bruce always brought in Racer X, which was a much more authentic blues background. Paul obviously grew up listening to rock and obviously grew up listening to the neoclassical stuff, and he had his influences, but I don't think any of them were like authentic blues things. Whereas I think when you listen to Bruce play, especially with The Scream, that you hear like real bluesy stuff in there. And yeah, go and check that album out, Let It Scream by The Scream. And of course Bruce has solo music, so check all that out too. Let me see if there's any final comments from anyone, and I will head out. Take care, everyone. Dave's getting a shout out from Bruce. I appreciate everyone tuning in. It was lots of fun. And it's worth pointing out, I'm not done with this stream. I'm not done with this transcription, right? The transcription challenge this month is to do Bruce's Racer X medley. So I'm going to do several streams this month. I'm going to be back doing 2-hour streams, maybe a couple of times a week. Who knows? I will be back doing more of this. We're not done. We are not finished with you. I'll be back, as it were. Upside Down has posted a link to Bruce's YouTube channel, so do go and check that out. Jess, this is actually the best one. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm genuinely glad you enjoyed it. And like I say, I will be back doing more of this in future. We'll talk more Racer X, we'll talk more Bruce, etc., all of that stuff. It's still there. It will stay online, Eric. You'll be able to watch it. So as always, guys, thank you so much. Much love, and I will catch you for another stream soon. Good evening, good day, depending on where you are and what time it is. Much love.